I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes before I get started. This Texas jersey is not what this video is about. Ugh. I've already given my opinion on Texas. I don't care to talk about that. I do want to talk about Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Yeah. I can't even sing, but that doesn't matter. What matters is if Georgia gets embarrassed. Okay, right now I'm waiting for the 5 minute mark to start. At the 5 minute mark, I will start talking. Right now, I'm just sitting here chilling. Hello, whoever that is. In 5 minutes, I'll be there. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to the bathroom. here we go. Hey, everybody. My bad. I just came back from the bathroom. Welcome. So let's talk about this. Maria, Oxley, Gravity. What's up, y'all? Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. I don't think Georgia Tech's gonna beat Georgia, okay? But what I am saying is they can do it. But Georgia has struggled against teams that run the football really good. I mean, Florida ran the football good on them. Tennessee ran the football really good. They couldn't throw the ball that great on them, but they ran it really good. Kentucky ran the football really good. Alabama definitely did. And Ole Miss ran the football really well. So, Georgia Tech, when you look at Georgia Tech, they run the football really well too. Now, I know they've had some embarrassing losses. For two of those games, Notre Dame, Haynes King went down and got hurt and he got put out of the game. And then they lost another game without him. Haynes King is going to play against Georgia. He should be fresh against Georgia. Because they had the bye week. And he did play a little bit against NC State. But he will be there for Georgia. Georgia, in my opinion, is a really, really good football team. They're not a great team. From what I've seen all year, it's just too many inconsistencies. And again, I know Florida's finishing the season strong. But Florida didn't have DJ Lagway the whole game. If they did, might have won that game. Who knows? It's just, to me, too many no-nos for Georgia. A lot of inconsistencies. The passing game has not been great. The receiving game all year has not been very good. And Carson Beck has had a lot of games. He's had double-digit interceptions this year. That's not very good. Now, granted, when you have a first starting year like he did last year, it's really hard to duplicate that success. I mean, think about it. You see Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Jordan Travis. You've seen Deshaun Watson. You've seen Lamar Jackson. You've seen C.J. Stroud. We've even seen Justin Fields and all these other great college quarterbacks that play really good. And then after they have that one first really good year, it's really hard to duplicate that. Caleb Williams, you name it. You know? It's really hard for them to duplicate that one perfect year that they had. They usually have a down year the following year. And that's a big part of it. But to see what has been happening with Georgia this year has been very alarming for me. And although I think they should win the game, and they probably will because it's at home. And Georgia Tech just has not beaten Georgia since Kirby Smart's first year. It is very possible. I don't care what the point spread says. Look at how Georgia Tech has won games. They run the football really good. Their defense forces a few takeaways. Their defense gets a few fourth down stops, crucial fourth down stops. And while Carson Beck is a really good quarterback, he's not Cam Ward. And again, Georgia Tech managed to shut him down to win that game and stop him on crucial fourth downs. Now, I know Georgia's pass defense is great, but their run defense has been kind of questionable at times. They've been pushed around a good bit. You know, and I know Jalen Milroe, is a better athlete than Haynes King. Haynes King is a little similar in regards to how he is productive on offense. Haynes King likes to run the football. He's not afraid to drop that shoulder and run you over if he has to, or at least drag you around with him. He's not afraid to hand the ball off, and he's got some really good running backs. And Georgia Tech does have Fowler as a backup quarterback, and they have other ways to get that ball down the field. And Brent Key, it's his alma mater. It's clear that program is in a lot better place than what it was when he first took Georgia. They finished 5-7 that year. Since then, he's won a Gasparilla Bowl. Right now, they're sitting at 7-5. They have 2 top 10 upset wins: a preseason top 10 Florida State and a top 10 undefeated Miami team at that time, who now has 10 wins. So clearly, Georgia Tech is headed in the right direction. Their recruiting has been getting better. The players clearly play hard and they find ways to win. And they very well can win this game for a few reasons. One, it's a rivalry. Anything can happen. And I know people say that term all the time, but I'm saying it again because that's just what it is. Reason number 2, Georgia has not been invincible this year. That defense, especially that run defense, has been very, very, very questionable. Georgia Tech is a very physical team. Again, they're not the most talented team. I don't think they're a great team, but they're a really good football team. And on a given day where everything's clicking and going right, we've already seen what can happen. So Why do I think they're not going to beat Georgia? Well, it's simple. I think Georgia's a better football team. But I do think Georgia is very beatable. I mean, look at the losses. A 3-loss Alabama team and a 3-loss Ole Miss team. And even though those were road games, they've also played good on the road. Ask Texas. You know, the guy that had this jersey on earlier, bragging about how great Texas is. It's just too many no-nos for me when it came to Georgia this year, the things that I've seen. But I do see Georgia Tech. It's a possibility for Georgia Tech to win this game. It just depends on how well they run the football. It depends on if Haynes King is healthy enough to play really good. And it depends on how many crucial stops that Georgia Tech defense could get. Their defense is a lot better than it was last year. They got Duke's old defensive coordinator from last year, by the way. That's why the defense plays better. But their defense has played pretty well this year. Their run defense is a lot tougher. So I do think Georgia Tech could win this game. It's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised. We see upsets happen all the time. We saw a lot of them yesterday. Ask Texas A&M. Ask Alabama. Ask Ole Miss. I mean, it happens regularly. And I think we're in for a few more. Am I guaranteeing Georgia Tech upsets Georgia? No, I'm not that stupid. But I am smart enough to know that certain things can happen on a given day. If supposedly for the team that's pretty good but not great, plays great, plays perfectly offensively, defensively as well, and manages to beat a superior team on the road that they shouldn't beat. So it's very possible. But I want to know what you guys think. I do see somebody in my chat right now. I don't know who that is, but I'd be interested to hear your feedback. Probably Georgia wins it. I mean, they've had how many? Let's see. 2016, they won 8 games. 2017, 18, and 19, they won 10-plus games. 2020, they had the COVID year. But they did win the Peach Bowl, and they lost 2 games. And again, it was COVID. It was a shorter season, so they probably would have won 10 games in a regular season. 21, 22, 23, back-to-back national titles, an Orange Bowl win over a top-5 Florida State team. And they had double-digit winning season in those 3 years, in that 3-year span as well. So they would really like to win this one to make it another double-digit winning season, regular season. So that way they can say they have 4 of those years in a row. Do I think Georgia's falling apart right now? No. I just think at this point, now that Georgia is playing other teams that recruit good or are recruiting better, and in some cases playing teams that have as much talent as them, if not more. Like last year in the regular season, they didn't really play anybody that. I mean, they did beat some top 10 teams, but they didn't really beat anybody with the talent that they have. This year they played Alabama, who equal talent as them, if not more, found a way to whoop Georgia. They gave up a bunch of receiving yards to a 17-year-old kid on a Saturday night. That's what happened, and their run defense got embarrassed. You know. Florida this year didn't beat them, but they could have if DJ had stuck around. Going like it is. A 9-10 win Ole Miss team embarrassed them. So, yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Is what it is. And I do not apologize if I'm making anybody mad. That's just the truth. Best case for Georgia, they win the whole thing, which they're not going to do. Too many good teams out there. Heck, I think Soft State has a chance with them, Ohio State. And I'm going to keep calling them that until they beat Michigan. By the way, that might be my next video. Let's see if I can make 30 minutes again. It got a lot of attention. My last video got a lot of attention. This one's not getting too much. That's because I'm talking about Georgia Tech, and a lot of people don't care about them. But I've been saying since Brent Key 2 years ago, I said that program was going to get better with Brent Key. That guy left because I'm telling the truth. Because, again, I'm talking about Georgia Tech. If I talk about just Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, it gets more attention. It's true. Fact of the matter. That's why I wear football gear in my videos. How about Nebraska, though? They're going to a bowl game for the first time in 8 years. That is amazing. I'm really happy for Nebraska. You know, I did think that they could go to a bowl game. I didn't think they'd be a 10-11 win team, but I definitely thought they were going to get better. The defense came back from last year. They played some good football. Dylan Raiola, I thought he was a better fit at quarterback than anything else that they had last year. My goodness. That's why they lost 7 games. But they found a way to get that 6th win. Who are they playing? Iowa, right? That's the rivalry they have every year, right? Iowa. Colorado, them going to a bowl, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised about Kansas either, honestly. There are certain teams that start the season, right? And they usually have a lot of expectations or they're expected to do really well, even if they're not expected to be great. In this case, that's Kansas, especially coming off back-to-back bowl appearances and a bowl win last year, winning 8, 9, 10 games, whatever it was that they did, right? And they somehow end up being 2-6. And now they've won their last 3. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Kansas beating them wasn't that much of a shocker. Here's the thing. I'm not saying Colorado's not very good or Deion Sanders isn't very good, but I do think they're both great. Deion Sanders is a great coach. Obviously, look what he's done with Colorado. But what I'm saying is they're a really good team right now, and I think it's clear that their program has come so far and the team plays together. I just think it was a case of a really good team going on the road to a team that has had a bad year but has been playing great football lately. And it's somehow that team manages to win. When that not very good team finds a way to upset a top 10 team who's probably ranked too high like BYU was at the time, they end up winning that game. They grab a hold of that momentum. They grab it, they don't let go. That's what Kansas is doing right now. And that team happened to win yesterday, impressively against Colorado. By the way, Colorado could still win 10 games. Let's say they beat Oklahoma State, and then they go win their bowl game. That's a 10-win season. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I'm really happy to hear about all that. It is what it is. Anyways, I'm debating, should I make my next live in a few minutes about South Carolina versus Clemson? Because every time I've talked about that game, that brings my channel a lot of attention. Should I talk about Michigan, Ohio State next? Should I talk about Florida State, Florida? Because Florida's getting a lot of attention, so that's going to bring a video. Any video I make about Florida from now on, I'll get a lot of viewers. Should I talk about Oklahoma, LSU? That's an entertaining game. Should I talk about Alabama, Auburn next? I mean, what do you guys think I should do? We'll see what happens.